Hi, I'm Bester the TypeScript guy and welcome to my channel. In today's lesson, we will look at adding MobX to an existing TypeScript React template that we have seen in a previous lesson, and hopefully you'll get to see how easy it is to get started with MobX. Let's go. We start off with a quick start process for setting up this application where we git clone the repository, cd into it, npm install, and then start developing our application with npm start. Here I have the project open within my IDE, which is VS Code, and by default it renders a simple hello component with the two properties compiler and framework set to TypeScript and React. Now in order to add MobX into the mix, all we need to do is install MobX and the MobX bindings for React. We'll save them as dev dependencies as exact versions. Now because MobX is built with TypeScript, it comes with TypeScript definitions out of the box, so we don't have to install anything special for MobX in order to use it with TypeScript. Also, this means that the TypeScript bindings for MobX are always accurate instead of falling out of sync with the JavaScript. The only compiler option that we have to set up in our TypeScript in order to use MobX the most efficiently as possible is experimental decorators. Now there is no reason to be afraid of the fact that this is experimental, as we are already using JSX, which in itself is an extension to the JavaScript. Decorators are also heavily used in other frameworks, for example Angular, so there's no need to worry. The pattern that I recommend for MobX is the state class pattern. What is a state class? Well, it is something that manages state. For example, here we have an input state that manages a value and the fact that this value might change using a method. Now in order to make this observable, MobX provides the annotation observable, and when you want to carry out a mutation, MobX provides the action decorator. So we go into our class and mark the thing that we want to be observed as observable and our methods as actions. Of course, we should probably export the state. Now let's go ahead and create a reusable input using React. This is pretty much React 101, where we go ahead and create an input, which is going to be a React function component that is going to take the props state, which is going to be of type input state, and within the body we destructure the state and we render a native input where we wire the value to the state.value and the onChange to the state.change. MobX at its core is actually framework independent. MobX allows you to mark things as observable. Now in order to react to these observables for your framework, in our case React, we bring in MobX React and we mark this component as an observer. Now if there is any change to an observable that is actually read within the input component, MobX React will go ahead and re-render this component. At this point, we have a reusable dual of input state, which manages the state, and the input component, which is just a blind rendering of any given input state. Now let's go ahead and demonstrate this reusability by creating a demo component that uses two inputs. We follow the same pattern, bringing in the usual suspects from MobX, which are observable and action, and then React as well as observer from MobX React. Since we will be using the input component, we will bring in the input state as well as the input component from the input module. We follow the same pattern as before to create a demo state. Here, the observables would be two instances of the input state, one named foo and the other named bar. Next, just like before, we will go ahead and create a React function component which will take this instance of a demo state as its main prop and go ahead and render out the inputs, one wired to the state.foo and the other wired to the state.bar. You can see the reusability within the state nicely separated from reusability within the component. We can continue this process of class composition and reuse as many times as we want. This is a pattern that is intuitive for any beginning JavaScript developer or anybody who's had any formal education in computer science. At our application root, we'll have a single app state. For our use case, it'll only have one member, which will be a demo, which we'll mark as observable just like before. and then we create a single instance of this app state, allowing us to control our entire application state from a single object instance. Now just to demonstrate, at our application root, we'll go ahead and create an app component, which will take an instance of the app state. And for now, we'll just render out the demo component, and then from the app state, also show the current value of foo as well as ba as it is changed by the user. We bring in all the missing imports, and then let's go ahead and get rid of the previous hello component. Now at our application root, we go ahead and render out the app component, wiring it to the singleton app state. And that's it. Now let's go ahead and start this application. Our browser reloads and we see the two inputs rendered by the demo along with the two divs pointing out the current values of foo and bar. And if any of those values changes, MobX React goes ahead and re-renders any observer using those values. And notice this nice clean separation of class composition of state and the blind rendering of whatever state might need to be rendered on screen done by React using MobX. MobX is one of those technologies that have a very minimal API footprint but can drastically reduce the complexity of your application codebase. In a future lesson, we might look at some of the React patterns that MobX makes obsolete, for example, the need for should component update or the use memo hook. For now, you know enough to get started with MobX, and you can see how easy it is to integrate into your existing TypeScript React application. Thank you for watching. Take care.